And we are live. This is episode 20 of the Everybody Mad Live podcast. My name is Said Lover. How you doing?
We doing good. We see you got a brand new light.
I know it's bright in here, ain't it?
Said got a brand new light over there, boys. That's out the Amazon coming through with that plug on the light.
Right. To show off all my skin.
You good, man? You good? What's up, everybody? I'm Kenya Kabine. Welcome to the Everybody Mad Live podcast. You can leave us the comments. Let us know what's going on. Say what's been popping up in Detroit this week, man.
Well, 2 days ago, the gyms opened for the first time. I know y'all don't know that it's still a global pandemic going on, but here in Michigan, we do. So slowly but surely, things are starting to get back to open. The gym's open, but it's only at 25% capacity. So it's still we're still not even getting back to normal because we still ain't got no solution.
I know, still don't have a solution. Shouts out to Trump for that right there.
Right.
Because you know how that goes. But I mean, you know, like I told you, like here in Atlanta, man, you still can't tell, man. Everybody's just going through life like it's all good. Like we ain't in no pandemic, brother.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Man. Right. Well, look, man, I know we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got some great guests coming on the show. Today we have an author, Jonathan, who has a book that's out that's going to help a lot of people, especially like people that are trying to do like own their own business. So you definitely have to keep a look for that. Plus, we have an update on what's going on in Flint, Michigan with the water crisis up there. There's still going on, and a lot of people have forgotten all about it.
Yeah.
But there's still a water crisis that's going on. There's people still struggling up in Flint, Michigan, right?
Yep, they are still. And, you know, they started having issues back in 2014. It was the end of 2014 when they started having the issues with stuff going on. So it's just been one of those cases where it's still the people have just waited too long. And we see how quickly the government can materialize things when they need to. You know what I'm saying? Like how quickly we got those stimulus checks. That's how quickly the government can act when they need to. But Flint just hasn't been the recipient of that type of grace or that type of generosity. So we do have Jasmine Hall. She's actually another Flint resident. Actually, that's the cool thing about both of our guests. They're both from city of Flint, born and raised in Flint, and they'll be sharing their perspectives on what it is. Jasmine is closer to the ground. She's working with Dr. Mona. That's the doctor that discovered the lead in the water in the first place, testing with the children. So she's working a little bit with her, and she works in the public health space. So we'll kind of check in with her and see what's going on with that. So I'm looking forward to talking with her and Jonathan both about the Flint water. Because the thing is with Flint and really anything, once we stop seeing it in the news, people just think that it doesn't exist anymore. But the problem still persists.
Still going on right now. So really excited about what we're going to be talking about today. So let's go ahead and kick everything off, Sid.
Yep.
Well, as you all know, as of today, over 191,000 people in the U.S. have died from COVID-19 related deaths. Solid proof came out this week that Trump knew the severity of the coronavirus and didn't even give a damn about it. And now the Trump administration is working to put their spin on this whole controversy. Now, investigative journalist Bob Woodward, he spoke to Trump a total of 18 times from December 2019 to July 2020. And he said that Trump knew exactly everything that he needed to know about coronavirus. And he said that he knew that coronavirus was deadly and worse than the flu, but he continued to mislead and gaslight Americans. I know Sid has a clip. Let's check it out. Sid, how's it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh yeah, like I see you everything, but as soon as I pulled up the video, actually I pulled it up from Fox News, and it froze both the video system and my video, so I can't even touch the screen.
Well, if it's coming from Fox News, that's probably why it froze.
They
don't want us to get the real truth out. That's all.
At all. And like I purposely said, let me play it from Fox News, so let me show the people what's really going on. And then like everything froze. Hold on a second. I may have to do a
reboot,
do a quick hard reboot.
Okay, cool. So while Seth is getting everything straight on the technical side of things, this is another Trump story. This is actually related to Trump. His oldest son, you know, and this shouldn't even come as a surprise either, but Trump's oldest son, Don Jr., is just as dumb as his father. This week, he said that and he's talking about Kyle Rittenhouse, that's a 17-year-old that killed the protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin. He actually said that we all do stupid things when we're 17. This was his comment on what the 17-year-old did up in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Now, when they asked why his father still hasn't condemned Rittenhouse actions, Don Jr. said that they're waiting for due process and don't want to jump to any conclusions, which is kind of ironic because Donald Trump always jumps to conclusions before all the facts come out anyway. So it's kind of strange that his son just said, okay, well, we're actually trying to get all the facts before we can even really comment on this right here. But his comment, once again, was it was ignorant. It doesn't really surprise me that he said that. And, everybody knows that Trump clearly defended this 17-year-old's actions. And it's like, wow, but once again, if it was a person of color that did it, like Trump would say, okay, we got to bury him under the jail because that's just how Trump is.
Okay, here we go.
All right, so here we go. So these are Trump's comments on COVID.
Even your strenuous flus. People don't realize we lose 25,000, 30,000 people a year. This is more deadly. This is 5 per. This is 5% versus 1% and less than 1%. So this is deadly stuff.
Now, that interview was taped on February 7th, very early on in the pandemic. Earlier today, Fox mistakenly aired a graphic saying that it was taped on March 19th. And to be very clear here, there was another recording on March 19th, which is where I believe the person who made that graphic got that date from. But to be very clear, it was back on February 7th that President Trump said that he believed that COVID-19 was much more deadly than the flu.
Now, so there's Fox News.
Wow. I'm surprised Fox actually said that.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. So I see why you wanted to play it from Fox News. That was brilliant, said. Real good move on your part.
Yeah, because I think now it's just time to where we just get out of the back and forth, out of the Democrat Republican. His first priority is always going to be himself. Mm-hmm. It's never going to be this country. It just so happens to be that he's a Republican. But remember, Trump used to be a Democrat too. I guess Democrats was just smart enough not to actually elect him and put him in office, but Republicans did. So now he is a Republican and he's in office. But I'm beyond that. At this point, it's like this dude is doing so much stuff that is just against our just way of life. I'm tired of living like I'm living. Not to say that it's an awful life, because I'm glad to have health and I'm glad to have resources. But I'm irritated that my whole 2020 has just gone. No vacations. Yeah. We ain't gonna have no football. No football, not for real. Like we can't go to a game, not for real.
Right.
We might be able to watch a few games on TV. All our holidays have been erased. We didn't have an Easter. We didn't have Mother's Day, 4th of July, Labor Day. All of our summer is just gone. People can't have big weddings because now you got size limitations. People can't memorialize people who've died.
Yeah.
They can't go to the hospital and hold somebody's hand.
Right.
And it's not because Trump started the virus. It's because he lied about it and didn't allow people to get access to the right information so that they can make decisions for themselves. And that's just jacked up. That's just jacked up to be. This man has willfully taken away our ability to make decisions that we need to be able to make, because he didn't give us all the information. And then too, it wasn't even like he held it back. He lied about it. He straight up lied because he knew in January. And then in February, he's telling, in March, he's telling the governors to reopen their states. You know, this was deadly, but you still went ahead with that. And that's just jacked up. And that's all I have to say. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous for anybody to even try and make any excuse for him.
It is. I totally agree with you. We have some comments coming in. Shouts out to Jason. He says, here's my issue. He said, Trump said that he didn't want people to panic, but then he didn't mobilize the country to produce the resources we needed and led the nation with a plan to limit the impact that we're seeing right now. That's exactly what Seb was saying too. Yep. He said that he admitted to knowing that the virus was in the air, but he won't push everyone to wear masks. Right. He knew this back in January and February, but he wasn't pushing for everyone to wear masks back in January.
Right.
Very true. That is so true.
Straight up.
And that's why we are once again in this situation that we're in. And for people to not see it, just because of this whole, racist energy that they have, and just because of their love for Trump. At the end of the day, you just have to look at it for what it is. He's just not competent enough to run the country.
Not.
That's all there is. It doesn't have anything to do with race or anything. He's not competent. He doesn't have the intelligence. He's not presidential to run this country, and that's why he needs to go. That's it. Let
me ask you this: if 200,000 people had died when Bush sent them to Iraq, would there be an outrage?
Absolutely.
We've literally lost 200,000 people,
right?
And not just in a year,
right?
It's been basically 6 months.
Yeah,
6 months to lose almost 250,000 people.
Yeah,
the United States is only 4% of the world population, but we're almost 25% of the deaths. He just ain't got it.
Yeah,
and there ain't nothing you can say about that.
Mm-hmm. Like Michelle Obama said, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to the next story. You can leave your comments. Let us know your thoughts on everything. Here's an update on Jacob Blake. This was the brother up in Kenosha that was paralyzed after being shot in the back multiple times by police. He actually spoke out for the first time this past week from his hospital bed to deliver some positive energy, some positive vibes to the masses. And he also appeared in court virtually to plead not guilty to sexual assault charges. I don't know if you have a clip of that or not, Sid.
I could be taken from you like this, man. And I promise you, the type of shit you will go through, staples, I got staples in my back, staples in my damn stomach. You do not want to have to deal with it. 24 hours, every 24 hours, it's pain, it's normal pain. It hurts to breathe, it hurts to sleep, it hurts to move from side to side, it hurts to eat. Please, I'm telling you, change our lives out there. We can stick together, make some money, make everything easier for our people out here, man, because there's so much time.
Man.
Yeah.
There's a whole lifetime of recovery he's going to have to be going through.
Yeah.
This is just the beginning part of it.
And even just psychologically, the damage that is done to him, I can only imagine, just being shot 7 times in the back, and you're waking up with all these nightmares and stuff like that. So I mean, he has a lot of recovery psychologically to deal with too, in addition to physically. And he's blessed, truly blessed to be alive, because we've seen this play out way too many times where a brother gets killed that's unarmed and he ends up dying. This guy is he's truly blessed to be alive right now. And I hope that the cops that did this, I hope that they're prosecuted.
Yeah.
And deserved.
Yeah, hope so too.
Keeping it moving, Ahmaud Arbery. Now, here's an update on what's going on with the whole Ahmaud Arbery situation. First of all, let's talk about his mom, Miss Wanda Cooper Jones. Now, not only is she dealing with her son's death, but she's dealing with people actually profiting from Ahmaud Arbery's death. Now, apparently his best friend, his name is Akeem Baker, launched a GoFundMe page that raised almost $2 million in funds. Now, the page claims that the money is going to Miss Wanda, but how's about she hasn't received not one red dime, has not received one penny from this GoFundMe page, and $2 million has been raised. This is, it's just, once again, this is ridiculous. This is the world that we live in right now, where people are shady, people will do anything. And this was supposed to be his homeboy, his best friend pulled this, right? Earlier now this month, let's back it up to earlier this month, Ahmaud suspected killers Travis and Gregory McMichael, they filed separate motions for bond. They also filed to have the malice murder charge and the criminal attempt to commit felony drop. Now, the father and son duo has pleaded not guilty to all charges, which include malice murder, 4 counts of felony murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, false imprisonment, and criminal attempt to commit a felony. The other the third suspect, William Brody, his name is William Bryan. They call him Brody. He was denied bond back in July. I just think it's sad. I think it's sad. This is supposed to be his homeboy, and this woman has not received nothing from a GoFundMe page, but he's leading people to believe that this money is going to her when it's not.
Oh man.
we'll keep you all updated. Well said, are you going to go ahead and introduce today's first guest?
Oh, absolutely. So what we'll do now is get into our discussion on Flint. We know a lot with what's happening now with the pandemic is what our focus is, but Flint still never fully recovered from the water crisis that they had starting as early as 2014. That's 6 years ago.
Wow.
Still, people today have not gotten their pipes replaced. So we were fortunate to be able to speak to one of the folks on the ground, Jasmine Hall. She's actually a native of Flint, born and raised in Flint, went to Central Michigan here locally, but after that got her master's degree in epidemiology and that sort of research. So she's a guru about epidemics and pandemics and that sort of thing. So she's going to talk a little bit about her experience because she is just back fresh from finishing that work at Harvard University. So I'd love to welcome to the show everybody mad Jasmine Hall. Welcome to the show, Jasmine.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So glad to have you here, and definitely you as one of the leading millennial voices down there in Flint. We certainly want to talk about you, but let's set the scene. Let's let everybody know how smart you are. Tell us a little bit about your journey. Obviously, you were born and raised in Flint, went to school at Central Michigan, and then did your graduate studies at Harvard University. Tell us a little bit about that and what inspired you to bring you back to Flint.
Like, I grew up on the north side of Flint. I have a lot of siblings, have a lot of family that just became family in Flint.
Yep.
And so growing up, like, I knew I wanted to come back to Flint. I knew I wanted to do something, even if I didn't live here forever, I wanted to give it back to Flint.
Exactly.
So I'm at Central, and at the time I was studying neuroscience. So hearing like, lead and water, I was like, what? Because I have nieces and nephews, and I'm the middle child, so children, not all, but several. And so seeing this, I felt like, what can I do? Several people felt like, what can we do? People in Flint, people everywhere. Like, it was wonderful to see the outpour of love, especially at the height of the water crisis.
Yep.
I didn't know what public health was. Honestly, I was actually, like, in 2014, I was in Flint during the summer, spending a lot of time with my family. But that fall, I actually studied abroad. So I'm over in Asia, and I'm seeing, I'm still connected to my people. So I'm seeing news articles and stuff about the water, and I'm like, what's going on? This is still during that first 18 months.
So back 2014, 2015 time. Okay.
So I'm like, what's going on? That's how I kind of started learning about public health.
Right.
And then I wanted to find a school where I could do kind of public health and neuroscience, psychology, kind of put that all together.
Exactly.
And there's only 2 schools, and I was like, I could go to Harvard. Like, moved out there, and I knew going into grad school, I definitely wanted to come back to Flint.
Definitely. So with your work there in Flint, and then you're kind of sent back down here. Once you get back to Flint, you're in the epicenter. You work with Dr. Mona. I'm having a brain freeze right now. Yep. You're in the epicenter of what's happening. So now, obviously, you know what's happening with the water crisis and all that stuff. How does that make it even more challenging when we enter into this period in 2020, once we add on to the water crisis a pandemic?
I mean, honestly, for everyone, I mean, some people saw a pandemic coming, but really, like, this is, like everybody's saying, unprecedented. Like, it's hard. Dealing with the aftermath of the water crisis, it does make it a little more challenging, or it makes it more challenging. And in some ways, there are things that were learned during the water crisis. And I'm away at school studying, coming back and visiting, but there are people who know so much more than me, in the city of Flint, who knew kind of, okay, these are the relationships we need to get back, back up and rejuvenated. Like, we need to get, people access to water. The expanded healthcare made it so that a lot of people were able to access healthcare, although not a lot of people are using healthcare services. So in some ways, it made it more difficult, especially, if you're still living in the city of Flint, depending on whether or not you had your pipes replaced, depending on how much you trust your water, just, telling people to wash their hands and things like that. If you don't have clean water,
Yeah.
You know,
Makes it hard.
House.
Yeah. Flint has been challenged since 2014, 2015. Here it is, 6 years, 5 years, 6 years later, in that Nestle's still providing bottled water. So that gets my little mind thinking like, why are they still providing bottled water for the residents? Is that because the public has a whole huge level of mistrust with the government, or is that just meaning that the pipe replacement still isn't complete yet?
Well, that's a question. That's the $1 million question, honestly. And even being back, I can't look at my nieces and nephews and tell them that the water is safe to drink,
Right.
because I don't know. And so I'll say it to you like I don't know. And there is some mistrust. Well, a lot of mistrust. And to me, it doesn't look like there's enough effort to rebuild that trust, regardless of what a chemical test is saying. You know, like if people don't trust the water, like replace all the pipes, replace the pipes inside and outside of the homes. Give people new appliances, like make sure people are set. And then let's talk about trust, you know? And that conversation isn't being had. Like the pipes have not finished being replaced. There's been a challenge getting people to opt in. These are what I'm hearing. But there's been challenges getting people to opt in. You know, some people have landlords. If you're a renter, you might want it, but you know, if you're not in charge of the house,
if you don't own it,
you're having to deal with this still.
One of the things that we know through obviously with your education and what we've learned through the news is that like we know that lead in water impairs learning development and brain function and so many other things with young people from just a learning standpoint. So just from an educational standpoint, what sort of support is going on in Flint, or what sort of support is needed for those young people right now?
Yeah, so there are a lot of resources that have come into the city, resources that have expanded, like health insurance, which is, you know, critical. Things like food assistance, critical. The Neurodevelopmental Center of Excellence, critical. But in some cases, we need more of the follow-up to happen. You know, that capacity be in place for kids to know how they are learning and how they are developing and things like that, and then connecting back to those schools. So that follow-up with service providers, expanding who is eligible. Some people are, how would I put it? Some people are starting to, you know, make more money, get better jobs and things like that, and are actually not eligible for certain programs, or the age that, you know, they're getting a little older, and some of these programs just started, or they just started getting a lot of people to participate. And so if kids are aging out of these programs, that's creating additional challenges. I would say there certainly needs to be more support on the technology end, because like you're saying, we're in a pandemic, you know, schools are remote, healthcare, you know, what you're doing, especially mental health in this pandemic.
Let me ask you one last question. As a professional public health official, you're in control. What's the first thing you're going to do so that we don't have to wait until 2021, 2022 to figure out what we're going to do? Like what will be your game plan coming from a public health perspective?
Well, I'm glad you.
And I know that's kind of broad.
And I'm happy to share, because I've thought about what am I going to do as an individual? What am I going to do to serve, and kind of what should we be doing? Because I don't see Black public health leaders. I don't see a Black Dr. Fauci, you know, like where is Black Dr. Fauci?
Exactly.
Because our people are dying. Our people are being impacted by this virus. Our people are grieving. And so one thing I'll certainly be doing is focusing on my mental health. You know, I have no shame in talking to a therapist. You know, I love my therapist. I think she gives wonderful tips, especially around self-care. Like, how do you make sure you're able to thrive? We have not seen pandemic plus winter yet. And if
plus
you're
flu season.
right, plus flu season. And if you're in Michigan, hey, people are, you know, down and depressed. You're not going to be seeing a lot of people. Like, we need to make sure we're prioritizing mental health, making sure we're voting safely, but voting, and making sure that we're okay regardless of what happens. Like that we're keeping that same energy either way, you know. That's part of the game plan, and just loving on my people, because if this pandemic has shown anything, it's that like there is not a lot of time. We need to love our people. We need to be creative. We need to do the things that we enjoy,
Yep, definitely. Awesome. Well, I think that's a good personal game plan. I think some of my government officials can definitely take some tips from that, because I think that that's one of the things that I've noticed is that my mindset has changed during this pandemic. Normally happy type of self has not always been happy. It's not even just with the pandemic. On the other side, they keep killing people that look like us, So that's a whole nother show, and I don't even want to start that because we could be talking forever on that. But I definitely want to appreciate you and honor your time commitment. But thank you for joining us with the Everybody Mad podcast. Please don't let this be the last time, because we'd love to have your perspective as a part of the show, because we definitely want to elevate Black voices, certainly voices of the millennial generation, so that we can definitely be talking about the right stuff, giving people the right information so that we can do what we need to do to protect ourselves. So I definitely want to thank you, Jasmine, and shout out to you representing Flint Town and doing some great things, Harvard grad. So I definitely want to elevate you and show some Black girl magic with you. So thank you for adding your expertise to the show today.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored. I'll be back.
I appreciate it. We definitely will have her back on the show, the Everybody Mad podcast, because I love to see Black women doing well and operating in their gifts. And I think that far too long, a lot of Black women have not been able to be showcased in their rightful place. Because I say it to this day, a Black woman built me, a Black woman built this country. All the Black women who stood and did all the things that they have to do and still doing it. So anytime I can elevate a Black voice, and I'm always ready to do that.
No doubt. That was a great interview, Sid.
It's so easy for the government just to come in. To me, now call me wrong. To me, it would seem like the government would have the ability to just give everybody what they needed, because it was the government that messed up the pipes with the leaching into the water. And that's like Jasmine said, why don't you replace all the pipes inside and outside? And also, what about the appliances in the house that use water?
Right. And clearly, as we all know, that there is money to do that. Everybody got their checks for the whole COVID situation, and this happened all these many years ago. Why couldn't Flint get their just due?
Right. America is the richest country on earth. So we can find the resources for anything that we place of importance. If it's important to us, we can find the resources for it. But I think far too often, part of the issue is that we don't have enough of us sitting at those tables. So when it's time for us to get what we need and what our community needs, it ain't enough of speaking up and saying what we need. But we do have our second guest, also from Flint. He's been making a habit of doing this too. He comes from FAMU. So our HBCU, we got some representation from there. I know you. What do you use, Savannah State?
Yeah, Savannah State all day, dog. Yeah. And
he also worked in local government here before becoming a serial entrepreneur. Would like to welcome to the show Jonathan Quarles. How's it going, bro?
All right, I'm well. How y'all doing?
Hey, good, brother, I'm doing good, man. You been all right?
I'm well, man. It's Friday, so I'm looking forward to the weekend.
Hey, man, well, great to have you on the show. Let's talk about you have a book out called "Making Dollars While Making Change." Talk about the book and what is it all about, Jonathan?
Yeah, so the book is something that I'm really excited about. I've always grown up in Flint, and I never considered myself a strong writer. At least that's what teachers used to tell me. But the book actually is half memoir and a half playbook for figuring out how to enter the intersection between business and social impact. So I'm talking about some lessons that I learned. I had an opportunity to work in corporate America for a while in the senior management level, had opportunity to work at the most senior level in government, municipality government, actually. And then I also had opportunity to work in the philanthropy. And I've always been an entrepreneur. I mean, when I was 8, I started my first business, had a paper route. And so from then I had over 10 businesses, sold some businesses, invested in other companies. So I think the book kind of talks about all of the different experiences that I had and where we need to be going from here. So it's a playbook for game changers.
So part of what we were talking about kind of relates to how you got your start for your latest venture, Quartz Water Source.
Sure.
Talk a little bit about how the Flint water crisis birthed an idea from your entrepreneurial spirit into something that's going to help the community.
Yes, I mean, I was inspired by just the Flint water crisis. I mean, I'm from Flint. My family, my parents still live in Flint. My relatives still live. So I actually know people that have died, people that are suffering from learning disability because of the water crisis. And so I couldn't just sit back and just let that happen and, provide Band-Aids. At the time where people were providing bottled water, which was really good and which was needed because people were bathing in water at the time. I realized that there's something more that I have to do. And I wanted to be able to provide a sustainable, long-term sustainable solution. And so in 2015, I had an opportunity to travel to Israel and I got a chance to meet a company there called WaterGen. And WaterGen actually is one of the pioneers of atmospheric water generation. So they make water out of air. And so I was really amazed by the technology and had an opportunity to talk to the CEO there. And I said, well, I want to figure out how we can do something like that in Flint, because in Flint is just actually one stage. And what I realized is that after we started doing research and development, we realized that Flint is not alone. I mean, we have New Jersey, South Carolina, Mississippi, and other states that are suffering from this water crisis, whether it's through lead poisoning, whether it's through water shutoffs, whether it's through contamination within the water system. And the good thing about this particular technology is that it's a scalable solution. So we can produce up to 5,000 liters of water from the air, right? So we don't touch pipes. We don't even compete with municipalities. We more so complement the municipalities, and we service as almost like a water insurance. So for municipalities, prison systems, hospitals, where they're looking for clean drinking water that is consistently clean and is scalable, we are able to provide them with that technology. And we want to do that all over the world.
That's dope. That's dope. I wish I had meant to download the video, because it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. How the technology was able to literally get people clean drinking water by harvesting. I guess that's the best word. Harvesting like the moisture that's already in the air and turning it into a drinkable solution. So that's man, well, I'm a nerd sometimes, but we just got so excited. I'm like, that's cool. Yeah. That's cool stuff. And then to have that actually sitting inside the city of Flint, that's a cool thing. So you have some of those plants inside the city, right?
Correct. Yeah. So currently in Flint, but we're doing this all over the United States and the Caribbean island. And even all over the world. But right now we're focused, our Quartz Water Source is actually focused specifically on North America. We got to get our house right first before we go out into other communities. But I'm very focused and committed to, we're a triple bottom line company. So not only are we making sure that we give back, so a portion of everything we make goes back to water related projects, but we also make sure that we're employing people that look like us. And so I am very much so focused on Black and brown communities that are always neglected. Whenever there's a water crisis right now, especially during COVID, water is the most important thing. And it's going to be the most important thing in the next 10 to 15 years. That's going to be the most important thing, because the access to clean drinking water in even big cities like Chicago, LA, New York, that's going to be a problem. And so we want to make sure we get ahead of that and make sure that our people have access to clean drinking water. So,
wow, that's awesome. That's awesome, Jonathan. Man, you know what?
You can call me JQ. You can call me JQ. No one calls me Jonathan.
My bad, JQ. Go ahead, Seth.
Maybe talk a little bit about the importance of being able to use your creativity for your entrepreneurial spirit and why that's important, especially for Black people.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I grew up in Flint, Michigan, and I grew up in the heart of the city, not like the suburbs. And so, y'all brothers, I mean, I think y'all from Detroit, I'm assuming, but I know y'all live in Detroit area.
Well, I lived in Flint for
oh, really? Okay.
Well, actually, I'm sorry. It was Davidson. So let me take that back.
Yeah.
Flint. It was Davidson.
But you understand what I mean? Like when you say you're from Flint, there's people that say I'm from Flint, but they're actually from Davidson and Flushing and things like that. Right. But I'm from Flint. I'm from the intercity of Flint. And so, we take pride in that. And I wear that on my shoulders. I mean, that's why this shirt I'm wearing is called Water to the People. Like we've always been fighters. People have always counted us out because we were actually in the top 3 when I was growing up, top 3 most dangerous cities to live in. But with that being said, I've always been a problem solver. I call myself a slasher. So when I was younger, I had teachers to tell me I was either going to be in jail or dead because I used to do things that wasn't really safe. I was involved in a gang at the time. But the reality is I had loving parents, and fortunately I had parents that was in the church. So I had a dad that was a deacon. He still is a deacon in the church. My mom, the Sunday school teacher, she's still a Sunday school teacher. If it wasn't for my parents and my community actually helped, like, put their arms around me in the midst of my rebellion, in the midst of my like youthful curiosity is what I call it, I wouldn't be here today. I mean, my best friend got murdered when I was 12. So I've seen a lot of stuff, experienced a lot of stuff, but I realized in the core of it all, like, my parents always loved me, and they always realized that, you know, you're not here for yourself. There's something bigger than you. So I knew at a very young age that that my life was important, and the mission and my why, it has to be lived out. And so I think that's what kind of like motivated me to be a business owner. But particular, we come from very humble beginnings, and so I knew at a very young age that I needed the only way I can get out of poverty was through like ownership and equity. And so, like I said, I've had several businesses throughout the years. Some of them did very well. Some of them failed. But to this day, I'm currently, I think I have 4 companies now that I think about it. And, you know, I'm looking to make sure that other young people behind me understand the importance of ownership and equity collectively.
No doubt. So let me ask you, Jonathan, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs out there, people that are saying, okay, look, you know, I want to get into this business. I want to go into business for myself, but I'm a little bit nervous. What advice would you give them?
But I would say this, you know, I don't ever knock 9 to 5s. I think I think that you have to do what you need to do to take care of your family or take care of yourself. But in the midst of that, we have so much time. I think we waste a lot of time. I think time management is so important. One thing I didn't do, which I would always tell people to do, is that before you leave your 9 to 5, make sure you have something set. I always say that even in the Bible, it talks about multiple streams. Like David had multiple streams, right? He wasn't just, I mean, he was a musician. He was I had so many multiple streams. And so, I mean, you had to have at least 4 to 5 streams of income so that in the event of a COVID-19 or in the event of a recession, if you lose your job, you still have opportunities to be able to create wealth and generational wealth. And then collective economics is something that I talk about a lot in the book. And so, yeah, for the book, I want to make sure I say this. For those individuals that have not pre-ordered your book, check out jonathanquarles.com. And you can pre-order your book there. But it's literally a playbook. I talk about specifically like a roadmap of how you actually create these streams of income and how do you actually become a successful entrepreneur. But it's not enough to be an entrepreneur. It's important that we understand that social impact is just as important as business. And so what I'm hoping to do, especially in this new normal, is that it's not enough. Consumers are not just looking at businesses for what they can produce and how they can consume. They're like, what are you doing in the community? What are you doing in the world? And how are you positively effectuating change within your employees and the people that you service? And so the book talks about that intersection between business and social impact. And I think we have to, as entrepreneurs, as aspiring entrepreneurs, as change makers, everything we do is not about us. It has to live beyond us. And so the book talks about all that stuff.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Jonathan. Well, we really appreciate your time. You taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us this afternoon. Let everybody know, how can they get in contact with you? What's your social media handles? And again, how can they get your book?
Sure. So my website, Jonathan Quarles, last name is Quarles, and it's Jonathan is spelled the way the biblical name, Jonathan. There you can reach me as well as on Instagram, Jonathan.Quarles. But all of that stuff is on my website. You can reach me there. That's the book. And yeah, I love serving people, and whatever I can do to be helpful. You can send me a direct message on my website. I actually reply to them. I see all of them. But I mean, my thing is, I can't like leave this earth without being able to provide and being used up. And so that's what my dad always tell me. When the goal is to be able to like live a life that is thoroughly used. Right. And it's not about me, it's bigger than me. And if I leave and I have no succession, or there's no one to say, oh, wow, this world is like missing something, just like what Dr. King talked about with the street sweeper, then my life was in vain. So please use me. I'm here for you all.
Yeah, there it is. All right, everybody. Again, this is Mr. Jonathan Quarles. Brother, again, we really appreciate you, man. You stay blessed, okay?
You too. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
Valuable information said. I like that right there, bro.
Yeah, it's just great to see his progression moving from that space and moving to a space now where not only is he having his own business, but he's empowering other people. And I think that's really what it's all about.
Yes, it is.
Like, it's not like, okay, well, once I get up to getting mine, well, I'm gonna try and get more of it. trying to pour those resources back into other people so that they can begin to get some of the things that we have gotten. And also, like, it's all about the pull up. It ain't about the drag down, and we too focused on the drag down. But it's always, whenever you get up to a level, I've always been told, you got to pull somebody else up.
You got to pull somebody else up. And what I really admire about him is that he actually gave back to his own community. Absolutely. Like his hometown where he actually grew up, Flint, Michigan, and did good for them. So kudos to Jonathan for what he's doing, man. That he's an awesome brother, man. Awesome brother.
That's what it's all about. We all can do a little something. We all can find out what can we do to make something a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Leave your comments. Let us know what you're thinking about. Everybody's talking about the Kardashians. Did you ever watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Well, the big news in entertainment is that they are finally ending their run after 19 years on the air. And no, my bad. It's 20 years. I'm sorry, say it again.
I just said praise God.
After 20 seasons on, and they say 20 seasons, so I don't know if it's not 20 years, I don't think, but 20 seasons, I don't know if it is 20 years, but 20 seasons of Keeping Up with the Kardashians is over. Reportedly, Kris Jenner said that she was ending the show after Kim and Kylie threatened to quit. Khloe and Scott Disick are allegedly upset about the decision. The show is ending because the Kardashians no longer need checks from E! Entertainment because they promote their brands on Instagram and on the internet. So they're pretty much done with reality TV. And, I know Said's not a fan. I would check in with the Kardashians every blue moon. I'm going to tell you, I started watching just to see Kanye on it and to see what Kanye was doing when he first got with Kim. But I didn't really follow it.
I never knew.
You said what?
I said I didn't even know that they put him on the show. I thought that he was.
Kanye was actually, featured on the show and everything. So I would just check in to see what Kanye was doing. But I really didn't keep up with it. I think my show, I used to keep up with the Braxtons more so than the Kardashians. That's just me personally. But looks like everything is over for the Kardashians. Now, let's give you an update on what's going on with the homie Jussie Smollett. Chicago officials now want to know if the FBI uncover any evidence about Jussie Smollett's claim that he was a target of a racist and homophobic threat before the infamous alleged attack. Now, as of now, the FBI is refusing to hand over its investigation results because they still haven't closed out the case. So Jussie just went on. I saw he did an interview recently with, I forgot my homie's name, Mark. Mark something. We're bad hosts because we're supposed to know this right here. But anyway, he went on. There it is right there. Lamont. I know that's his name. But anyway, pretty much he's saying that people won't let this go. But the thing is, dude, you did it. You lied. So they're going to try to make an example of you, so he's still denying that he did not do it.
Especially when the part of it is part of his story was that it was two people that were Trump supporters that had the news. So he put in an element of racism and an element of Trump. Now everybody who wants to defend them, because that there are still millions of people who defend them at every turn, because that's what cults do. They defend their leader. So that's why people ain't dropped it, because you got a cult. Now you done activated the cult. Yeah. The cult is coming after you now, and we can't protect you against them because they crazy. Yeah, they're crazy, and they're gonna get them. I'm not gonna say they're gonna get them, but they're trying to get them because they're Trump's flunkies. You know what I'm saying? So they want to make an example out of them. Yeah, they're definitely gonna make an example. So we'll keep you updated on what's going on with your boy Jussie Smollett. Now, we got an update on what's going on with Dr. Dre's ex-wife Nicole. Now, as you can recall, we told you that she was filing for divorce back in June. The latest thing that just came out, this came out last week, was that she's requesting almost $2 million a month in temporary spousal support while they sort through their divorce proceedings, and she wants him to pay $5 million in lawyer fees. Now, Nicole broke down her monthly expenses, and I'm telling you, I'm like, really, girl? Okay, now she says that she spends $135 a month in clothes. Education, $60,000 a month. Tuition and living expenses, I'm assuming that these are for her kids. Entertainment expenses, $900,000 a month.
charitable contributions, $125,000 a month, mortgage, $100,000 a month, telephone, cell phone, email, $20,000 a month. Damn, Shawty, really? Now, there's also drama with their alleged prenup. Now, at first, it was reported that the couple didn't have a prenup. Remember, we told you about that. Then the word came out that their prenup agreement could possibly mean that Nicole may not get half of her husband's $800 million fortune. However, some courts will deem that prenup stale or invalid after 10 years if it isn't updated. So it's crazy. I mean, your girl she's no joke. She's going after the gusto, man. She's trying to get it.
Yeah, she like, yeah, you got some money. Yeah, I didn't realize that, but that's the breakdown that she was saying. Like, you spending $2 million every month?
That's insane.
Every month you're spending $2 million.
That's insane.
Why would you even want to? Even if you had to spend and you didn't even notice $2 million every month or whatever. Why would you want to, and why would you need to? And then some of the stuff just didn't make sense to me. All right, you got $10,000 in laundry and cleaning your clothes, but you also buying $135,000 worth in clothes every month.
Right. It doesn't make sense, and it really makes it
$60,000 a month.
Yeah, it's so this is my thing because now if you add all that up, it's still like almost $500,000 short of almost $2 million. So she really didn't even have to come out with this list right here because it really makes her look like a gold digger. In my opinion, I mean, it makes it look like she's money hungry, like she's going after the money when she should have just sat back. And I remember like what my mother would always tell me. She would always say, just be still. When you're going through some drama, when you're going through some issues and problems, just be still and everything is going to work out. But she just went on national news, just went to the blogs and just said, yo, this is the breakdown and these are my spending habits. $2 million and we're in a pandemic. And we got all of these people that are in so much strife right now as a country. You know what I'm saying? But you're saying that you spend $2 million a month?
Then what is her career? What does she do?
She doesn't do anything. She's got accustomed to a certain lifestyle, so that's why she is trying to get all this money. And I don't think that she's going to get it. I really don't think she's going to get it.
Yeah, that's absurd.
Yeah.
If you want to comment, that's the website. You can join us in our virtual studio. All this information right there. Solo.2/everybody-mad.
Okay, so I pulled up this Ice Cube story, said, but we it seemed like we talked about it first before everybody really got a hold of it. Because when I looked at the story again, I'm like, we talked about that whole Ice Cube thing. We broke it down, but people are just now jumping on the whole Ice Cube story after we brought it to you all first on the Everybody Mad Live podcast. So you can go back and check out, what we had to say about that. So I'm going to skip that story, said, or I can talk about it again. It don't matter.
Well, there's a little update to that particular story because the news has gotten out. So now Biden's camp and also Trump's camp have responded to him. So I guess where he is now is whichever of those two camps agrees to give him what he's asking for in the contract to Black America.
Yeah.
Then that's what. So maybe I'll play like a couple minutes of his response. Now here's
okay, because he's saying that he's going to vote for whoever co-signs with the Black voters. That's what he's saying. So he's pretty much saying that even if Trump does it first, if Trump says, okay, this is what it is, then Trump is going to get his vote. And I got an opinion about that. I'll let you play it.
Fair amount of contracts, government contracts go to Black businesses. And I say Black specifically because the word minority has actually hurt us because every minority usually gets something but us. I really want to focus on economics. This is something that we really need. I think economics could fix a lot of these other social problems. They're moving full speed on dealing with social issues. The same amount of energy needs to go into getting us out of this economic hole that Black people have found ourselves in generation after generation. We have to close this wealth gap. Both sides have contacted us, and what I see is both sides understand that something big needs to be done. What I think the Biden campaign should really be scared of is Trump can actually do it. Like, he can try to implement it before the elections. I'm ready to fight for Black people. I'm not concerned about too many other things right now. We've been concerned about so many other things and so many other issues that benefit everybody but us. And it's time for us to benefit. And somebody needs to step up to the plate and do it.
So I'm all for what Cube said. I agree with, trying to show love, for African Americans, fight for us as Black people, but still the message is still getting twisted. If we do not vote Trump out of office, we're going to have to deal with another 4 years of his BS, and nobody wants to deal with that. Even if he does create some kind of plan to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And thanks, because Ice Cube gave me the idea, and Ice Cube has all these followers. If something like that happens and all these people follow what Ice Cube is saying, and they don't vote for Biden and they vote for Trump, we're gonna lose. Everything is gonna be lost. Everything that we're fighting for is gonna be lost. So I just think that the message is wrong. I think that people could actually misconstrue and receive that message the wrong way. That's just how I feel about it, Sid. What's your thoughts on it?
Maya Angelou said, once someone tells you and shows you who they are, you believe them.
Mm-hmm.
Trump already told us he don't care about us.
Yeah.
He already told us that. We know that beyond a shadow of a doubt that he doesn't care about us. We also know that he does things just to do them. His heart is not in it. Like, we heard all the stuff that he said. He literally lied about the pandemic. So even if it's not just about Black people, because I know that I agree Black people need to be considered more in bids and get more contracting. And I think economically, we've been shut out in a lot of spaces where we shouldn't have been shut out. So I'm not disagreeing with what Ice Cube is saying, but Ice Cube is looking at it like both of these two men are equal.
No, and they're not. Ice
Cube is looking at it as if Trump ain't the man that sides with white supremacists openly and does things negatively towards Black women. Never had a good word to say about any of our Black queens. And I take offense to that, On the other hand, you got Joe Biden. And I know he has a challenged history. He's been in politics for 50 years. So I know he's done some things and said some things that a lot of people don't agree with. I get that. But on the other side of it, we know Joe's going to bring a Black woman with him. We know Joe's going to bring a Black Supreme Court with him. Yeah. We know Joe's going to bring a Black staff with him. We know Joe is going to have Black people all up and down his inner circle. That's what he came from. He was the first Black president's vice president. So he's been working with people of color and having a diverse staff since he's been in politics over the recent history. So we know what he's going to give us.
Yeah.
We also know what Trump has given us. We know that he's put almost 300 federal judges into the system. 0 are Black. So this plan that Ice Cube was talking about, we gonna really trust Trump to do what he say he gonna do? Oh, okay.
Right. I just think that it's very irresponsible for an African American man with a platform like Ice Cube to get on national, shows like TMZ and stuff like that and say what he did. I feel like it's sloppy. It's kind of reckless, And then on top of that, Biden has already come up with the plan for African Americans, and we've talked about this before, and it's already outlined on his website. So, Cube, is trying to go hard and everything like that, but everything that you said is true. Trump, he's just not for the people, African Americans especially. He doesn't care. We just told you some stories where he's still co-signing for this 17-year-old white boy up in Kenosha, Wisconsin, that shot some protesters. And they're waiting to see.
Shot 8 times in the back. About Jacob Blake.
Yeah, hasn't done a thing. You know what I mean? So just for Ice Cube to do this, it just kind of makes me think like, but then there's people that's gonna, once again, Ice Cube has that platform. People are gonna follow Ice Cube, and there's some people that just saw that video and they were like, he's absolutely right. And if Trump does, and Trump being slick like he is, Trump could come out with something and say, hey, I'm going to do this for the Blacks. Because that's how he talks. I'm going to do this for the Blacks. And
he's good at a smoke and mirror. He can tell you what he gonna give you. Like same way with what he did with the unemployment when the folks lost the 600, and he said the federal government make sure you get 400 back. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that on the show a month ago. Ain't nobody got no $400 check. That's what I'm saying. He will have a press conference and tell you what he's going to do. But when you follow up with him, there's no evidence of him doing what he said he's going to do. So he's a liar. He's not going to do it. And then on the other part, you got Biden. And I'm not trying to ride Biden's tail and like say that he's the greatest thing ever. But like we know that we can get Biden to change his mind. When he was thinking about a vice president, all them black women, all them black celebrities, they said, you better not, boy, you better not think about getting no Amy Klobuchar.
Right. And they went out and got a white girl. Got a woman of color. They made sure, and actually, like we had the guests on the show who were part of that 7,000 group of women who said, "You better not do that. You better get a sister in there." So we know we can tell Joe, you better do this, or you're gonna lose our support. So we got recent history of we can change his mind. We can mold and shape Joe. We can get him more easily to go the direction that we want to. But how many judges Trump gave us? Yeah.
Hey. But I rest my case. Yep. I will not watch another episode of Friday.
I will not watch Players Club anymore until after November.
That just hurt my heart.
When Biden, we're not going to cancel Cube yet because I believe that we can convince Cube of his wrongs. You know, like I just think like
Cube seems stubborn to me.
He seems what?
He seems a bit stubborn.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm sure that we're going to be hearing more about what's going on with Ice Cube. We got a couple more stories before we wrap up. All right. I heard that the verses thing is really blowing up now, thanks to Brandy and Monica, because no one was, people that were kind of checking for verses and everything, but when Brandy and Monica hit that 1.2 million viewers last week, it was like the talk, like everybody was talking about verses, and it was also a real good look for R&B too. Well, it's coming out that this Sunday, which I feel like they need to give a little bit more time to promote it because they really didn't give it enough time to promote. But this Sunday, two legends, two OGs are going head to head: Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight. That's going to be huge. But I still believe that they need to give it time. And if personally, they're two amazing artists. Gladys Knight is representing Georgia. Love Gladys Knight, but I'm Patti all day. Nobody can mess with Patti. One, because she's Aunt Patti. Two, because she can cook and she got some fire-ass sweet potato pies. Play with it.
This is like a mama them and auntie them type of verses.
Yeah.
Everybody ain't gonna be on Instagram, so like, how y'all gonna get all these old people get on Instagram to be checking out this verses on their phone? They gonna turn to BET and try and find the Patti LaBelle Gladys Knight concert. Is that Gladys? Where's that Gladys Knight and Patti LaBelle concert at? I can't find it.
And you see they're doing it on a Sunday at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's right.
It can't be too late because Brandy and Monica, their thing was like almost 9
o'clock.
Yeah, it was late, but this one right here, they said, okay, we want to make sure we get all the OGs to watch. Right. But I still think that they should have waited a little while longer. But, I'm all for it. I think it's dope. I think that I like that they're giving props to the OGs like that. I think that's awesome. So if you're interested, definitely check out Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight's verses airing this Sunday on Instagram Live. Shouts out to the party. I'm sorry, what?
I said I might do a watch party. We might do an everybody mad watch party for Patti and Gladys.
No, I can't see with a whole bunch of older folks. With a whole bunch of older folks really said.
Never mind.
I don't see it. I know it's not going to get the numbers that they want. It's not going to get like the 1.2 million. But they're still, incredible artists. I mean, I'm gonna definitely check it out just to see. Yeah. It's on some Sunday chill kind of vibe and everything like that. But okay, so my cousin said, G-Mac said Beyonce versus Mary. Somebody had talked to me about this, like who could you put Mary J up against? I don't think Mary and Beyonce is a good mix. Maybe Beyonce and Rihanna. Maybe Beyonce and Rihanna. Mary J, you got to put Mary up against like Mariah. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would do that. Now, I've been an advocate for Toni Braxton. I think her catalog is deep. I think she got a deep enough catalog and like sad enough songs to go hit for hit, maybe with Mary.
She will be good. Or you could put Toni up against Mariah Carey. Her catalog is she got hits. Toni's I love all of Toni's albums. I'm a Toni Braxton fan. Let's keep things moving. Speaking of Toni Braxton, her sister Tamar Braxton. Tamar's now ex-boyfriend David claims that he's a victim of domestic violence. He said that Tamar punched him in his neck while he was driving her to a mental facility, causing him to wreck his Rolls Royce. Now, after Tamar hit him, he said that he was discombobulated and he had to call his mom, and she started praying. Boy, I love black folks. After Tamar allegedly hit him, he said that he found out that he was being secretly recorded. David said his Rolls Royce was destroyed and there are over $30,000 worth of damages. And now the cops are involved. I think said you may have a clip of that. I see her reality show aired this past week too, that she didn't want to come out. And of course, it's interesting enough, they dropped this reality show when all this drama is coming out. You know, that happened purposely. That was intentional.
Yeah, and ain't it barely been a year? Like she, it's just been like I think it was last fall that she started with this, with this David guy, and a lot of people call him a scammer anyway.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I've seen. I don't know him. Well, what did he do?
He's saying she was messing me up. I was driving a Rolls Royce, and she hit me. She hit me in the jugular, hard. She hit me hard. I didn't know what to do. I am African. I didn't know. Tamar, it's over.
He's scamming you.
All right. Let's keep it moving. I was going to tell you too about the homie Travis Scott. Just inked a major deal with McDonald's. You could actually pull up to McDonald's right now for the Travis Scott meal. That's big. That is a quarter pounder with cheese, bacon, and lettuce, a medium fry with barbecue sauce, and a Sprite with extra ice. It's Travis Scott's go-to order anytime he pulls up to McDonald's. And that's a real good look for Travis Scott. I like some of his music. I like the Sicko joint.
Yeah. I like anybody whose last name is Scott. So he works with me. I've had McDonald's in probably about all year. I know I ain't had it all year. But
yeah, I haven't eaten McDonald's in a long time.
That's what I would do. I do a quarter pounder. Yeah, I do a quarter pounder, put a little bit of bacon on it, and I put Big Mac sauce. If I go to McDonald's, regardless of what I get, I'm getting Big Mac sauce. A Big Mac no onions, a little bit of Big Mac sauce. Quarter pounder, add Big Mac sauce.
Yeah.
Chicken McNuggets, give me a side of Big Mac sauce.
Yeah, really?
Sauce, period.
Wow. I remember when I used to go to McDonald's, I used to love getting Big Macs back in the day with extra sauce, no cheese. But my thing was always those Filet-o-Fish. Oh, yeah. They were so good. And I remember when I was a kid, my cousins, they'll tell you, I remember going to McDonald's with my cousins back in the day. My cousin Juan used to eat a fish fillet with the chocolate milkshake on the side, and he would dip the fish fillet, the Filet-o-Fish in the chocolate shake. It used to taste so good, though. That's how we used to eat it back in the day, man. So, yeah. Was that.
Never did a fish fillet in chocolate, but I've done Wendy's fries inside of a Frosty.
Yeah, oh yeah, that used to be good too. But but now I will say I did eat McDonald's probably like a couple of months ago. I was just, you know how you just drive past, you can smell those French fries or fish, the Filet-o-Fish. I got me a Filet-o-Fish. And I don't eat a lot of fast food, but that thing was so good. I got a Filet-o-Fish with extra tartar sauce. It was so good. And that bumpy sauce.
McDonald's Filet-o-Fish.
You said what?
I've heard nobody talk about McDonald's Filet-o-Fish.
What? Man, you crazy.
It's good, but
they are so good.
That's not a signature sandwich. That's
the hell. What? I can eat two of them bitches.
Somebody talks about, when you go to McDonald's, give me a Filet-o-Fish. Like what? What? No, when you go to McDonald's, you get a Big Mac, you get a quarter pounder, you get some nuggets. You don't get no.
The way you said it,
I've been craving a Filet-o-Fish. Let me get a Filet-o-Fish. And tell them to do extra tartar sauce. I've never heard anybody say that ever.
Boy, I need some people to just comment right now, man. Somebody just back me on this right here. McDonald's got the fire-ass fish sandwiches. I'm telling you, man, they are so good.
I've had much better.
Wait, I think
y'all.
Okay, no. Deb, okay, so my cousin Deb, hey, shout out to my cousin Deb in California. Okay, so she said it's a family thing. Okay, yeah, we love the fish, real fish. Yes, with extra tartar sauce. Lorraine, you got my back. Thank you, Lorraine. See, okay, everybody is commenting. Thank you.
You got 2 people. That's it.
All right, I got a couple more stories before we wrap things up. Just a few more stories, and we'll be done because it's Friday. I know we got to go. Okay, Odell Beckham said, did you hear this story?
I did, and it was a bit strange.
Very strange. And I'm going to keep this clean because I know it's a family show, but apparently Odell Beckham Jr. was trending on Twitter this
video.
time. You said what?
I said a family show. I was about to play the video.
Oh, go ahead and play it then.
Oh, hold on.
Apparently we're about to hear Chief Keef's baby mama. Her name is Slim Danger. She's accusing him of being into... Play it. I'll let you play it.
You can keep it. Bombs. Okay, I will tell y'all the story.
Oh, allegedly. We're avoiding lawsuits here.
Yeah, allegedly.
We're dodging.
Okay. Yes, he loves to be shitted on.
Ooh.
Okay, that was my first time ever. I actually couldn't shit. Okay, I don't think I could shit on the way either. What the fuck? I could not do it. That was something like.
Well, clearly, and you know, let's get it clear. Like, this woman had a baby with Chief Keef, right? And she goes by the name of Slim Danger. So that kind of gives you a little background on her, right? And she's hopping from celebrity to celebrity. I don't believe it. I just think that there are some people that are thirsty for fame and attention. And why would you put stuff out there like that, even if it is true? You know, it's kind of like.
I mean, everybody like what they like. You like extra tartar sauce? Maybe Odell Beckham likes. Like extra tartar sauce.
Oh,
God. No, that's Big Mac sauce. I'm sorry. Never mind.
Really said that's what we're doing. Oh my God.
It's Friday.
I can't. Changing the subject. Shouts out to Tiana Taylor and Iman Shumter, proud parents of their second child that they named Baby Rue Rose. Now, the baby was born right here in Atlanta at their crib, and Erykah Badu was their doula. So shouts out to the happy couple. Congratulations to Tiana and to Mr. Shumter. All right, let's see one more story before we wrap things up. Willow Smith, 19 years old. I can't believe Willow's only 19 years old.
Yeah, I thought she was older than that.
Willow Smith is 19 years old, just bought herself a brand new crib valued at $3.1 million. Her own crib. Now she's moving out, 19 years old, into a $3.1 million crib. This move comes 3 years after her brother JM moved into his $4 million crib. Her crib is going to be located out in Malibu, and it's so beautiful out there. So, that's the crib. I didn't even see the pictures. Man, that is clean right there. I love that. Yeah, real modern, real sexy, real nice. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's nice. To be 19 and to be living like that.
She got all that money from I Whip My Hair?
She must do. Let me try and whip my hair. See how much I can generate from that.
Okay. Dang. I ain't even mad. Red Table Talk paying like that. I ain't even mad. Hey, before we dip out, we got to make sure that we acknowledge this is the anniversary of 9/11. It's been 19 years since the anniversary of 9/11 attacks. So prayers and condolences out to anyone that lost a loved one, family member during 9/11. Also, keep in mind, too, if you want to know anything about these candidates that's running in elections that's coming up, make sure that you go to ballotready.com. That's where you can find out everything that you need to know about these politicians, because this election is coming up and we need you to know everything that there is about your local politicians, and what's going on with our presidential election. So you can dive into the background and opinions of every candidate on your ballot and save your choice and bring your ballot to the polls and vote. Once again, that is ballotready.com, ballotready.com. Cedric, that was a good show, brother.
Yep, it was good. Yeah, everybody needs a plan. Make sure you have a plan for voting. Don't just wait for election day or election week. You really, right now, you need to be checking out your registration. You need to be making sure that you are registered, because even in the state of Georgia, there was, 40,000 people that were kicked off of the rolls in the state of Georgia. The same thing that Brian Kemp did as Secretary of State is happening as he's governor. So your vote matters. If it didn't matter, they wouldn't keep trying to take it from you. So everyone now, while it's still early, it's September 11th. We're just over 50-something days away from the election. So now's a good time for everybody to check your registration, check your precinct and what you have to do. And if you are able to early vote and get it out of the way, do that.
Yeah. And what's interesting, said, and I need to pull up, we could talk about this next week too, because I know we're out of time. But here in Georgia, there were actually people that did early voting and their ballots weren't counted.
Oh.
Yeah, they talked about it here on the news here in Atlanta, that there were maybe about like 2,000 people that did early voting, and either they didn't receive their ballots or their ballots weren't counted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's still happening in 2020. And there was just a report that Russia is still trying to engage in activities against our election. They've hacked into a couple of states' voter registrants, so they have the ability to manipulate those things. So there's still attacks going on. So it's going to be important. It's an all-out fight. I know we might think that, yeah, it's all over. We got clear number one and number two, but we don't, because there's going to be some cheating involved. They're already cheating. So we have to do what we have to do to make sure that our vote counts, and it is counted when it's time for election day to happen. So yeah, it's something to think about, but don't forget about it as we get on.
Yeah, definitely. All right, everybody. Don't forget, you can holler at me at Kenya Kabeen on Instagram and on Twitter, at Kenya Kabeen 1 on Facebook.
I'm at Said Lover, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can check it out there. And also, please check out the Everybody Mad. Oh, it's over there. Everybody Mad Facebook. Follow that Facebook page for us. And that way you can keep up to date throughout the week on what we're doing. Next week, we have a jazz artist coming on the show. He has a new release that'll be coming out on next Friday. So we'll release that on the show as well and celebrate that. Plus, some more of your good stuff right here on the Everybody Mad Live podcast. I'm glad you guys joined us. Stay in touch.
All right. Stay safe. Stay blessed. Until next time.